Hey, Corey MacArthur here, your realtor online with RE/MAX and the Komoka Homes team. Here we are at the beginning of 2017. Happy New Year. What I'd like to do today is take a moment and just chat with you about what happened in Kilworth and Komoka's real estate market in 2016. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you know there's a few different factors that we like to assess when we talk about the health of the real estate market. So why don't we start with price? So when we look at price, a lot of times we want to look at the average sales price across a market, and then we can kind of decide, is that moving up or down? So when we look at Kilworth and Komoka, we see that our average sales price for 2016 was $418,000. This is actually down by 4% from $434,000 that we saw in 2015. And while there may be some natural concern there about our prices or our average sales prices dropping, it's worth noting that this is still the second highest average sales price that we've seen in the past 10 years, and the overall trend is still moving upwards, which is great news. The other part that we want to look at when we look at price is we want to look at how close are our homes actually selling to asking price. So we put our homes on the market, we ask a certain price, and our buyers stepping up to the plate and paying that. And what we see is that our average that we're seeing is that they're selling for 100% of asking price. That's great news. And while this doesn't mean that every single home is selling for 100% of asking price, what we do see is that 38 out of the 97 sales that happened here in our community, those homes were selling at or above asking price. This is really worth noting. It shows that buyers are really willing to step up and pay what sellers are asking, providing that their homes are priced right, show really well, and are marketed properly. Buyers are willing to pay what sellers are asking, and that's great. The other factor that we want to consider is how long is it taking us to accomplish this? And what we see here is our days on market, as we call it, is taking us 43 days to sell our homes here in Kilworth and Komoka. And while this is actually 9 days longer than what we saw in 2015, it's still a really healthy time frame, and we shouldn't be concerned about the length of time that it's taking us. It's not taking us 5 or 6 months to sell our homes, and our homes aren't selling in 3 or 4 days either. So really still a healthy time frame for both buyers and sellers alike. The other thing that we've seen a nice steady growth in is actually the number of sales taking place here in Kilworth and Komoka over the years. And what we see in 2016 is we see that we've actually had 97 sales take place. So we didn't quite break the 100 home barrier, but very close, and I expect that will happen in 2017. But these 97 homes are actually up from 2015, which saw 90 homes sell. So that's an increase of 7%. And for anybody that lives here in the community, that we know that our community is growing, not only in the number of homes, but also in its popularity. And I think we can expect that trend to continue, which is really healthy. And what we want to see, it does affect home values here in the area as well. The other thing that we want to assess when we look at the number of sales that are taking place is, as we all know, there's a lot of new building going on out here in Kilworth and Komoka. And what we want to assess is what percentage or what number of those are actually new builds being purchased directly from the builder. And what we see is 28 of those 97 homes, or roughly 29% of those sales, are going directly to the builder. Buyers are going directly to a builder and purchasing. And that can really affect a lot of things, but it's worth noting that if you're considering selling, you're also competing against a lot of new builds, and that creates a different factor that needs to be taken into consideration when formulating a strategy for selling your property. So that's a lot of information to consider, and what does it actually mean, and what does it mean for us moving into 2017 if you're considering making a move here in Kilworth and Komoka. And again, if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I talk a lot about supply and demand. And supply and demand is really the driving factor behind the health or what's happening in any market really, but also especially the real estate market. And while in 2016 we saw kind of a fluctuating supply due to the fact that you would have builders kind of list a bunch of homes in one foul swoop, it kind of distorted supply numbers and made it difficult to see any real trends taking place. What we can do is take a quick snapshot of what we see right now. And right now we have 27 homes for sale on the market. And 23 of those 27 homes are actually homes for sale from a builder, meaning there's only 5 resale homes on the market. I would call that a shortage of supply in the resale market here in Kilworth and Komoka. And I would also note that it's probably a very strategic time to list your home, given that you're not facing a lot of competition from existing resale homes. And it's also, as we head into the spring market, demand is going to grow. And what we know from 2016 is that with this shortage of supply and the current demand that we've seen, there's really not going to be any concerns about selling your home. You're also more likely to sell for over asking price, given that there's limited selection for buyers to choose from. So if you've given any thought to making a move here at the beginning of 2017, or you want to get prepped for selling at some point during this year, or even if you just want to know what's happening on your street, in your community, or what your home is worth, I would love to connect with you. You can reach out to me directly by email at corey@komokahomes.ca, or you can give me a call or shoot me a text directly on my cell at 519-476-7016. Other than that, I hope you're enjoying the start here to 2017. From myself and everybody here at the Komoka Homes team, we want to wish you a very happy new year, and hopefully we get a chance to connect as well.